What is going on, everybody? Jonathan here with Gig Nation. If you're not a subscriber, I go over everything related to the gig economy, rideshare, and side hustles. So today we're going to be talking about the 9 things that you absolutely need to know before you get started driving for Lyft. So there's a ton of reasons why you would want to drive for Lyft, but there's also a lot of shiny lures and bait out there that's kind of trying to tempt us to become rideshare drivers, and they give us all the best information, the best reasons why we should sign up, but it doesn't always paint the full picture of being a Lyft driver. So I want to go over the things that you absolutely need to know to give you a realistic perspective of driving for Lyft, how to take advantage of the app and use it to best work in your favor so that you can play the system and come out on top. Because if you're not approaching rideshare and Lyft driving with the right perspective, then you're gonna get played. You don't wanna get played, you wanna play the game and you wanna win. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 9 things that you absolutely need to know. The first thing that you're gonna wanna do is set up an LLC. As a rideshare driver, you're an independent contractor. That means you own your own business. Now, a lot of people go with a sole proprietorship. You absolutely can use this designation, but it's not gonna protect you and your assets if something happens. So let's say you get in an accident and you do have the right insurance, but your insurance doesn't cover all of the damages. Now, all of a sudden, this person and their insurance company might come after your individual assets, and Lyft probably isn't gonna step in here if they don't have to. And under a lot of circumstances, under certain periods of when you're driving, they may not have to. So you absolutely wanna do everything you can to protect your assets, and you can get an LLC for under $200. It's $150 in some states. It's fairly easy to register, so I'll go ahead and leave a little bit of info about that in the description so that you can do that. It's definitely a good insurance policy to have for just a couple $100. It's good to have that under your belt. The second thing that you want to do is become familiar with all of the Lyft app features. So one of the app features that I really like is the destination filter, and this allows you to make money at times when you'd normally be driving anyways. So let's say you're signing up for Lyft, but you already have a full-time job or a job that you do, then you might as well be using the Lyft destination filter to get rides and request rides during your normal commuting times. These are already going to be peak hours, and you can get a ride that's already set up towards your destination. That way you're earning money when you'd already be driving. Lyft is also going to reimburse you for any toll roads or toll bridges in between you and that destination point. Now, there's another really cool hack that I like to use with the destination filter, and this works for anyone that's an independent contractor or has their own business. Even if just driving for Lyft is the only thing you do as an independent contractor, this also works. But let's say you have your own business. The only miles that you get to write off is from your office to do whatever business related activity that you're doing. So if you have a home office, you get to write off a lot of those drives, but not everybody does. So the way that this works is when you're a Lyft driver and you're in driver mode, you get to expense all of those miles. But normally you're only in driver mode when you're looking for a ride, and so you wouldn't want to just switch that on at any point in time because maybe you're doing something related to just like going to the grocery store or your daily activities. You don't want to be in driver mode here because this could send you off in another direction. But if you're using the destination filter, then you're only going to get rides sent your way that are going towards the same endpoint as you. So let's say you're just going on a long drive to go visit friends. Turn that destination filter on, and all of a sudden you get to expense these miles. Now, as an independent contractor, you're allowed to deny as many rides as you want on the Lyft platform. So you could, if you wanted to, just theoretically turn this destination filter on and not really accept that many rides and just use it to expense miles. But the good news is that when you do pick up a ride, it's gonna be in the same general direction. So it's not that far out of your way. And then all of a sudden you're using the Lyft app to make money on miles that you normally would just be driving and spending gas miles, putting wear and tear on your vehicle. All of a sudden you're making money, or at least getting to write those off as expenses. The next thing that you're gonna wanna do is set specific goals. So you need to have goals for yourself as a driver, because if you jump into this just thinking, hey, I'm gonna drive for Lyft and make some money, or hey, I need money, I'm gonna drive for Lyft, then you might end up getting taken advantage of, because you're not going to be selecting just the best times to drive and the best rides. You're really just going to be doing whatever you can to make some money, and some of those times that you're driving aren't going to be the best times to drive. So come into it with an approach of, hey, I want to make this much money per day, I'm going to drive these times in order to accomplish that, and stay very strict, be very much dedicated to this game plan that you set out for yourself. Also, set aside a certain amount of money that you want to be saving. Save for personal needs, taxes later on. You're definitely going to need a little bit of money to save for those. So think about how many miles you're driving, multiply that by the standard deduction rate, and then subtract that from your earnings every single month to find out how much you're actually profiting on the app. And you can go ahead and just do like a rough estimate of 20 to 30% of that you're going to need to set aside for taxes at the end of the year. Make sure that you have rideshare insurance. Now, this is really easy to get in 2019. It used to be kind of expensive and kind of hard to come by, but fortunately a lot of large car insurance providers now offer it. You can get it for as cheap as like 20 bucks a month in some places, and you absolutely need to have this because during period one, when you're just looking for a ride and you haven't actually accepted that ride yet, Lyft is not going to be covering you. So you're very vulnerable during this time period because your personal car insurance also won't be covering you if they know that you're driving for Lyft, and that could make you personally responsible for a lot of damages if you don't have the correct rideshare insurance. Have a bigger game plan in mind. Don't just quit your full-time job to start driving for Lyft. It's not really possible to make good full-time earnings with Lyft. So you're gonna need to have this bigger picture game plan of how much time you're setting aside to drive for Lyft, how much time you're spending on family, and how much time you're spending on other things that are also more important, like going to school, training yourself, getting prepared for that next step in your career. Because, you know, if you're just jumping into this like, hey, I can drive for Lyft with no real game plan, then you're gonna get stuck in a really bad position. It's not gonna help you out financially, and it's not gonna help you meet the long-term goals that you really need to set for yourself to live a happy and fulfilling lifestyle. Compare the mileage rate and ride fee with that's offered from Uber. Uber could be a better option in your city, or you might want to multi-app and use both apps at the same time. You really have to see what works in your city best because it's different from city to city. Uber might be getting more demand and throwing more rides your way and also giving you a better rate. In that case, you're going to want to use the Uber platform. Maybe they're kind of comparable. Then you might want to just do both apps and, you know, accept rides from whichever one gives you a ride sooner so that you're not waiting around. You really have to consider this strategy as a Lyft driver. Get to know your city. If you haven't driven around the downtown areas and the busy areas, then you could find yourself kind of getting lost doing things that are going to kind of bother your passengers, and they might give you a bad rating for this. Ratings are really important on the Lyft platform, and also, you know, being a good driver, knowing the quickest routes is going to get you better tips. You can't always depend on Google Maps. You know, a lot of times it does give you the best route, but sometimes it doesn't, and you're just gonna need to go back to the basics and know your own city very well and just use those routes that are gonna save you that little bit of extra time as a driver. If you're looking to lock in those guaranteed earnings that new drivers are eligible for, then you need to make sure that you use a promo code or a referral code when you sign up to drive for Lyft on the platform. I'll leave a link down below to make sure you take advantage of that. The last thing that you need to do is make sure that you know the driver and vehicle requirements specific to your state. So the driver requirements are pretty much the same everywhere in the country. You gotta be at least 21 years old and you have to pass a background check. So you can't really have anything big, any felonies or anything weird on your record. But the vehicle requirements are actually, depending on the state that you're in, they vary quite a bit. So you can go ahead and check out the Lyft website. I'll leave a link down below, and they tell you what you need to know state by state. So generally speaking, it does have to be a newer vehicle. You can't just put any vehicle on the Lyft platform. And they also no longer allow subcompact vehicles as of 2019. So some of those smaller vehicles that in the past were, you know, allowed on the platform are no longer allowed. So I'll leave that link so you can go ahead and make sure that you have all of the correct vehicle requirements in mind. So that pretty much wraps it up for this video. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel for tons of rideshare and gig economy updates coming your way.